Good morning, ladies, all the way in Ontario. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Thanks for being on the show. ITL Health gals from back east. We are having a Saturday morning chat about our children and anxiety and stress. And it's a real thing, not just because of COVID. They've been going through it before. We have been acknowledging mental health for the last few years now. What are your thoughts on children and managing their stress and anxiety?
Well, we have a lot of information on our website about how important magnesium is for helping manage stress and anxiety in all ages, but it's very real with children as they don't always tend to eat a really nutrient-dense diet and they like their processed food and there's just not as much magnesium in it. And there are lots of research studies to show how much magnesium supports the nervous system, the stress response, the sleep, to help ADHD. There's studies that show that most children with ADHD lack magnesium and that magnesium supplementation helps them focus better. So magnesium is a very, very important mineral for that, the support of anxiety in all ages, but especially children and teenagers.
Has it been missing? Is it missing in the diet? Are they able to get it through their regular foods, or why would they need magnesium multivitamin supplement?
So magnesium is not in our soil in the same amounts that it was found in 50 years ago. It's also depleted in a lot of cooking practices and processed foods. So definitely if you look at the amount of magnesium in anybody's diet from now versus 50 years ago, there's totally going to be less. It's also found in a lot of whole grains, leafy greens, nuts and seeds, foods which children don't tend to eat as much. Likely you need to supplement in order to get proper levels because magnesium is foundational to our body. It's responsible for 80% of biochemical reactions in our body. So it's very foundational. And if a teenager is missing it in those developmental years, it could give them issues as they become adults.
Lene, talk about the reason why you've chosen to take magnesium for children, but add all these additional ingredients to make it more of like a multivitamin.
Most multivitamins don't have enough magnesium in it because you just physically can't fit that in. And if they do, it's often a poorly absorbed source. Right. So we really wanted to make a magnesium-based multivitamin, something that gave them their daily dose of magnesium, but also gave them a lot of other important nutrients such as calcium, vitamin D3 and K2. Those all work very closely together for not only bone and teeth health, but structure. So your bones growing, your jawline growing, fitting your teeth in. And we've also got some B vitamins, zinc for immunity. So generally speaking, when you're eating food, you're not eating a specific nutrient, you're eating a whole bunch together. So we kind of try to mirror that a little bit more.
Got it. I think about my children right now and their levels of stress and anxiety. It's present. I acknowledge that it's there. I mean, I have two high-performing athletes who, for the last almost 2 years, have either not played their sport or they're in constant training and not allowed to. Like the reward for an athlete is to play a game and show your stuff, and so they don't get that. And then in turn, that sort of flows into their schooling. I mean, for my son, he's like, this is like a gamer's dream. Lock me in my room for school for a year. I'm in. My daughter is, the exact opposite. She doesn't go to school to try to get good grades. She goes to school because she is super highly social. What are you seeing in your children? We'll start with Lene. You have younger ones. Megan, sorry, you have the younger ones. Tell me about your children and what you're seeing different in them these days.
Yeah, so I can just kind of see a lower level of, or let's say a bigger, higher tipping point. So, they're stuck online school. They don't like it. They don't thrive with it. And I can't be there to support them every step of the way. I have a job and they just easily have emotional outbursts. They get frustrated very easily. They come crying to me, my teacher, I don't understand what my teacher said. They're also in an all French school, or, I asked you to hand in my assignment and my teacher said she didn't get it. And then they literally won't go back online for 30 more minutes because they're just so upset. Yeah. And, it's a gross overreaction for what's going on. And, usually they can handle things pretty well. So I just see a lot of that underlying stress that, things change every day and, you can't play with this friend and now you got to stay home for 2 weeks and now you got to stay home for another 2 weeks. And there's just so much going on that they don't understand that I can see, puts an underlying stress in them.
Lene, your children are sort of in the middle of our two. What are you seeing different in your children, if anything?
Yeah, very similar, just different ages, so they can handle themselves a little bit more, but they're still very displaced. No extracurricular activities, no friend dates, no school. It's a very difficult time to be a kid right now, and I can see they're feeling it.
So you've created a product for children that not only contains magnesium, but other ingredients as well. What are they, and what was the purpose behind it as well?
Well, calcium is a big one for children's growth, but we didn't want to focus too much on calcium because it is pretty prevalent in the American diet through fortified foods and just naturally. So we actually focused on more vitamin D and vitamin K2. Those ones are really important to ensure that any calcium you are getting is being put in the right places or being flushed out. K2 is very important when you're supplementing with vitamin D, because if you don't have that, you can actually get something called hypercalcemia, which is high levels of calcium in the blood. And you actually need the magnesium to activate the D3. Otherwise, it sits in your organs, your kidneys and your liver, and isn't utilized. So those ones all work very closely together. So those are the main ones we wanted to focus on, but we also wanted to focus on some of the B vitamins for energy, and those ones are actually probably one of the more important vitamins is the B vitamins, but
focus, right? Focus is key too for these kids also.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
If you look at other multivitamins, a lot of them don't even contain K2 in them. So that's,
I've never had K2 in any supplement I've given my children before.
Yeah, it's a significant player. It's a more expensive one. And when it's present with other alkaline minerals, the K2 can break down very quickly. Within a couple months, there probably won't be any K2 left in the vitamin. So we use a microencapsulated form to make sure that in our supplements, you're getting all of the K2 that shows on the label. So that's another part of it, is you can only put so much into a multivitamin, but we really looked at the nutrients that lack in a children's diet, like K2 and fermented foods and grass-fed butter and meat, which we don't see much in a child's diet and many people's diet these days, in order to properly support their growth.
Perfect. Okay, so if you want more information on ITL Health pertaining to your children and their wellness, their mental health, their focus, managing their anxiety, Megan and Lene have lots of answers for you through their website. Go ahead and visit them. Ladies, thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you for having us.
Great day.